Hello, hello, and welcome to 2025, I guess, and Spindle TV. My name is Laney Shaughnessy. I'm going to be your host this evening. Good to have you all back and to see some old faces in the crowd. The holidays went by a little too fast for me. I enjoy that end of the year. It's my one time off to get things done, and I didn't get everything accomplished that I wanted to, but all in all, the holidays were amazing. I hope you all had, great time with family, friends, and or alone, whatever. You just had good holidays and you were safe and everything. So very, very cool. It's 2025, so turning a new year, new leaf. Spindle TV. Want to make sure that I'm trying to stay consistent this year with video content and everything. We're gonna stick with the Thursday nights at 8 p.m. for these live events. And the Santa Claus did not bring me a new computer this year. I was hoping that I was on the good list. Tally the Elf said I was on the good list anyway, but I may have some technical difficulties tonight with the stream. If anything happens, don't worry, I'm aware of it. I will pop back or what have you, but I believe I'm streaming okay. But if you have any buffering and stuff like that, I do apologize right up front. That is something we're going to nip in the butt early this year and everything, and we'll see how it goes. Now, tonight's project is a long time coming. Many, many years ago, a long time ago, I put out weekly woodworking videos, nothing to do with CNC, just how to build things. On my other channel, I have another YouTube channel under my name, Laney Shaughnessy or Build It TV. But I have another YouTube channel where I taught woodworking, just how to build things and stuff. And we're going to start producing more video content for that channel as well. But coming up, from 2010 and everything, coming up on videos and stuff, one of my dear friends, and I really consider him a dear friend, but I lost touch with him for many years. Robert, we have RJB Woodworks, Robert Blanford, but and Lord have mercy, Robert, if I misspelled his name, I'm going to be so upset with myself. Blanford, yeah. Lord have mercy. But Bob, but anyhow, he has a channel on YouTube, makes some beautiful turn pins and other items and everything. RJB Woodworks, definitely check it out. And anyhow, his daughter, I promised her that I would make her a heart-shaped box. And I can't recall what prompted that or what project it was from or anything like that. All I know is I promised her to make this box, and then I never did. And years have passed. And this young lady, who, by the way, her name is Grayson. Her birthday is tomorrow. Her 21st birthday is tomorrow. So happy birthday, Grayson, if you happen to be watching out there. She remembered that I promised her this box. And her dad was invited. I invited her dad, Bob, to an open house for Digital Woodcarver not too long ago, a month or so ago. And he came out, did a beautiful job at the open house and everything. But when he and I finally got a chance to see each other and catch up and conversate, he reminded me that she reminded him to remind me that I still owe her a box. And I forgot. And so I was like, oh, okay, I will make sure I get it done. So tonight, pulling up my sleeves. Tonight, we're going to design that box, and I'm going to make it for, and it's kind of great timing. I was just informed that Grayson's birthday is tomorrow. She's turning 21. Congratulations on that, by the way, Grayson. And I hope you have an amazing birthday. So we're going to design a box. Now, for the inspiration, I'll show you what I had in mind, and then, but this is from scratch. I'm designing this. We're going to build it tonight. As far as in the Vectric software to be carved, it is going to involve some CNC work as well. I've got a great design, I think, that's going to turn out really, really cool and have some nice elements to it. I will be working in Vectric Aspire. Now, technically, most of the things that I'm doing could be done in Vectric VCarve Desktop and Vectric VCarve Pro. I am going to add a 3D element to it as far as shaping the lid of the heart-shaped box, but I could, I could, do that kind of stuff within Vectric VCarve Desktop or Pro as well. So it could be done. A lot of things can be done. So if you have Desktop and Pro, don't leave. Stick with me through this project. Stick with me. There's going to be some learning here, just some of the things I'm going to be doing tonight is going to be it's going to involve the Vectric Aspire and the modeling tools and things like that. So without further ado, I'm on a single screen tonight because, like I said, Santa didn't bring me a computer, and my backup computer is down at the moment. So if every once in a while you get like this infinity effect where the screen goes wild, it's going to happen because I'm switching from one screen to another. But welcome, everybody. I want to welcome my Spindle TV exclusive subscribers that are joining me here tonight. Thank you all. Good to see each and every one of you. I see Roger S. I see David. Let's see, David. I see Rod Wallin. Thanks for joining me. David Heineke, Roger S. Cool. So Spindle TV exclusive is a subscription for the channel. I want to thank those that support that and everything. All right, let's get into it. Let me switch over to the screen that I want to use. And what we're going to do is we're going to go with screen camera number 2. Let's see here. Camera 2 in the background. We're going to minimize that so we don't get the effects going on there. We'll pop this up. All right. Now, all right. So tonight's project, I am on the job setup. We are going to work with 12 by 12. That's going to be my material. I've got a beautiful piece of panel of teak. It's got some really nice color and really nice figure in it. It's 1 inch thick, and it is, I believe it's like 30 inches, 30 by 16, 30 by 20 or something like that. So the whole box is going to be made out of that, but it is in itself it's an inch thick. So I'm going to go right now 12 by 12 by 1 inch. The lid and the box and everything together is probably going to be about 2.5 inches. But if I decide as we go through that I want some more height, I'll end up, building that up to get some more height in the box, depending on how deep I decide to go with it and things like that. All right. So with that being said, we have a double-sided project. I'm going to be carving on both sides of the lid and the. And I need to bring myself down. Hold on a second. I need to bring myself down in the corner because I'm still covering everything up. Let's switch me down in the corner there. All right. Sorry about that. So we have a 12 by 12 by 1 inch thick project board. It's going to be a two-sided project. I will be touching off for myself off on the machine bed. I use the machine bed a lot nowadays. Don't ask me why. There's no really rhyme or reason. but I use my wasteboard a lot for zeroing out my materials and everything, mostly because I'm cutting parts out at the end of the carve. I'm cutting parts out and I don't want to cut into my wasteboard. So I use the machine bed as my Z0, which guarantees two things for me. It guarantees, number one, that I always cut through my material, regardless if I'm just a little heavy or light on the material thickness, you know, if I didn't get it just quite right. And I don't beat up my waste board. I don't spoil my spoil board. So for me, it's going to be the machine bed for our Z0 position. And I am going to use the bottom left corner for my XY0. And I'm going to flip my board left to right. I'm going to flip my board left to right along my X-axis. Now, I am building a model, so typically I would increase the resolution here to be a higher resolution. The only problem with that is because of the minor technical glitches I'm experiencing, I don't want to overtax the computer at this moment and cause lots of buffering or something like that. So we're just going to set it to very high on the resolution. I'll go back before I actually run this and I'll change that resolution. I'll increase it much more so I get really nice parts. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and click OK on that job setup. And what I would like to do is I would like to pull this up so I don't get that mirrored effect. I'm pulling it up to a screen that's on to my left. There we go, my other screen. So if you see me looking up and away, it kind of almost looks like I'm looking at the board, but I'm actually looking at y'all's comments and everything like that, and everything. And for Todd Pritchard, Todd, absolutely wonderful sentiment there as far as you know. Hopefully all of our thoughts and stuff are with the individuals and families and things that are dealing with that outrageous circumstances and fires and everything in California. I just couldn't imagine it. It's a travesty. All right. So I believe everything looks good. We're good here. Wonderful. And let's see here. Ronnie Probert told Santa to put me on the good list. Well, he listened. You know, Tally the elf told me that I was on the good list. All right. So the first thing I want to do is bring in or create, if I was going to create the heart shape for this box. I have a vector that I created earlier. I didn't want to, you know, tie up too much time trying to draw a perfect heart. So in my down heart box, and I'm going to show you, let's open this up. That is the inspiration. That's kind of, this box is you know, generated, and it's inspirational. It's be designing this from scratch. So let's take a look at that box so you can see idea. Well, there is the box that I'm going to create is going to have that ribbon and bow effect going across the top of it and everything. And I'll show you how I'm going to make the bow as we go into this. Two parts, the upper parts of the bow are going to be glued on after the fact. They're not going to be part of the actual like built onto it. It's going to be added on to give it that ribbon effect, and it's going to be pretty cool. Okay, so what we want to do is let's center up this vector, and I want to size this up a little bit larger. So I'm going to hold down my shift key. I've got it centered here. If I hold down the shift key, it'll stay centered as I just size that up. And what I want is to kind of prepare for the router bits and things that I'm going to be using. I am going to be using a 1/4 inch end mill to cut out the parts. In some cases, I'll be using an 1/8 inch end mill, but I know right out of the gate that my bit, when it's cutting out these parts and things, there's going to be areas that it does not fit into. So I want to kind of pre-plan for that. That way I don't have to worry about anything in the end. Now, did you hear that? I just kind of like got nasally there. I don't know why, but for some reason I can't breathe right now. I think I can't breathe because I'm under so much pressure to get this right, because it's only been more than what, 9 years? So it's been a long time. I don't know how long it's been technically, but it's been a long time. All right, so what we want to do is, I've got it centered, I got it sized. Roughly, I'm about 11 3/8. I think I'm 11.36. So let's go ahead and make that just right. Let's go here. And yeah, 11.3672. I'm going to fix that. I'm going to keep my aspect ratio, and I'm just going to make it 11.375, 11 3/8. There we go. Now, what I said was, when this gets cut out, I'm going to be using a 1/4 inch end mill in most cases, or I technically do have an 1/8 inch end mill that will reach 1 inch in depth, but this material is 1 inch, and that's fine. I don't want to take any chances of, running into the shank or anything screwing up on this. This has got to be, it's got to be perfect. So the 1/4 inch end mill is going to give me that better chance of not screwing things up, and that's what I'll use. And if we just take a look, imagine this circle being the 1/4 inch end mill. When it comes in and cuts this part, it's only going to be able to kind of get into this area here. So this little heart that I have going on here, it is, not going to get there. So I want to take that out to begin with. Now, normally I would go over to the fillet tool, and I would create a fillet being with an 1/8 inch radius that would just automatically create that curve there. But notice that my drawing, I didn't do very good. I didn't do a very good job of bringing the point here. So there's really nothing to fillet. In order to put a fillet there, I really have to have kind of a nice corner. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fix that first. And how I'm going to do that is the goal of this heart is for things to, I want it to be symmetrical. I thought about, man, what if I had like one of those nice, cool shaped hearts and all that stuff? And there's so many things ran through my head as far as what I want, but I'm going to go with a nice symmetrical heart. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take this heart, and I'm going to come back here, and I'm going to cut the vector right there, like taking a pair of scissors and cutting it. And then down at the very bottom, I'm going to come in and I'm going to cut the vector here as well. And I'm going to take the left side of this heart, and I'm going to delete it. I'm going to get rid of it. And I'm just going to take the right side, and I'm going to flip it to the left. So I'm going to mirror it. I'm going to create a mirrored copy, and I'm going to flip it to its left. There we go. And what that should do is it should kind of connect at the bottom, but at the top, there should be a gap, a visible gap there. And that's what I want. Let me get rid of it. We don't need it there no more. Now with this gap, I'm going to use the extend tool. The extend tool. This takes two contours, and it extend or vectors, and it takes them and extends them to a common point of intersection. Wherever that intersection is, it will bring them to that point. So with the extend tool, I'm going to click here, and you'll see it shoots that line straight down. And if I come over here, you'll see that shoot straight down. Well, at some point in time, they're going to intersect. So if I left click on this, and then I right click on this, it will create that intersection and then cut everything off and clean it up, right? So the extend tool, love the extend tool for that reason. Now I'm going to go into the join tool and take the two vectors that I have, the left and right side, because just because I extended that line or those two lines, it doesn't mean that I joined them. So if ever you're working with the extend tool, and all of a sudden you're trying to create a pocket toolpath or something, and you're getting a message saying, hey, you have open vectors or this or that, and you're like, what? Just because you extend something, from one point to another, just because two lines are touching and everything, it doesn't necessarily mean they have been joined. So in this case, I have even though I extended this here, I have these two vectors that are still separated, so I need to join them together as one. So now I have one closed vector. All right, now this heart is going to have a wall, and the lid is going to have an inner lip to kind of a fitted lid to fit in there and everything. And so I want the walls of my heart to be at least 3/8 of an inch thick. But before I do all of that stuff, remember, I want to create that radius. So I'm going to go over to my fillet tool now, and I'm going to create that 1/8 inch radius. I'm going to zoom in here, and I'm going to put my mouse there and click to put that radius there. And at the bottom, that way, that the radius, the 1/8 inch radius is half the diameter of that 1/4 inch end mill, right? All right, so I've got that. Now I'm going to take and offset this vector inward to create the kind of the illusion of the wall, if you will. I'm going to create the offset inward, and we're going to go 3/8 of an inch. There are no corners here, so that's going to be unchecked. I just want to hit select new and create that. And that's going to give me my wall area. And then all of this area is going to be, it'll end up being pocketed out for the box. But I want this box to, I kind of was trying to think if I wanted to divide the box up maybe into two parts or something, two different compartments, compartmentalize it or whatever. But I wanted to, figure out what I wanted to do there. And what I think that I want to do is I do want to just kind of divide this up into two parts possibly. And I'm not going to go right down the middle. I'd like to have a larger compartment and a smaller compartment, because now when I get this to the table, now the CNC machine is only going to do so much for me, right? It's going to do my pockets and things like that. But when I'm in the shop and everything, and I get this main thing cut out, I'm going to be putting felt inside this box. It might even, it might be flocking or felt. I think I'm going to go with felt, but I may put some foam and felt to create like ring holding inserts if I want to make it like a jewelry box effect. So the shell, if you will, that's what we're making on the CNC. That's what we're designing right now. How this thing gets, what it's going to end up being when it's all said and done, that's still left up to my creativity and what I want to do, when it comes off the table and everything. So to help me out with that, I want to probably break this up into two compartments. If I don't want to go down the middle, because I don't want it to be like a broken heart, you know what I mean? But heck, it probably broke her heart because it's been 9 years or what. I don't know how many years it's been for the box, but gosh, I can't believe I promised the you know, she's probably knowing Bob, she's one of the greatest kids in the world, right? And I didn't keep a promise. Makes me, I'm like, that's like a Grinch. All right, let's see here. Let's go. What do I want to do with this? I'm going to freehand this at first. And I think I'm going to kind of come up here. Okay. I should have held down my control key to extend that vector to this line, but I will use the extend tool again, and I'll just bring that over. Gotta love that extend tool. All right, now I'm going to offset this line outward. I'm going to offset this line outward 3/8 because that's how thick my wall is. Okay. I'm going to use my extend tool. We'll extend that up to there. And I should be overextended there. I am. We'll take the scissors and trim this up. And then I'm going to trim this line here, and that's going to make that part of the wall, right? So it's going to make it part of the wall. Oops. Now, this one, if you zoom in really close, why when I clicked with the scissors here, why did half that heart go away? There's always a reason. Now, when I'm zoomed out, it looks like that line is connected right here. It looks like it's touching that line. But when you trim with your scissors, it trims to the next intersection, the closest intersection. And when it removes all that I'm trimming this line. It should have trimmed right to that line, to that intersection. But it didn't. It got rid of everything. So that tells me this line's not touching. So you got to get up close and personal with things sometimes. Zoom in and you can see where we're short. So let's use that extend tool. Let's extend that to there. And then we can take our scissors. We can bring that down there. All right. All right. So now I have 2 compartments and everything. We have a larger compartment for whatever, right? Whatever's going to go in there, and then a smaller compartment and everything. Now, this is going to be pocketed out. My lid is going to have a lip that sits down inside this heart. It's going to be like a fitted lid. Is that the right term? A fitted? I think it's a fitted lid. It's going to have a little notch all the way around. I don't know why my mind's not thinking tonight, but it's going to be a fitted lid. And so I'm going to need the wall that I've just created, kind of a barrier, if you will, right down one side of this, right down the middle, this barrier here. I'm going to need that recessed down however much my lid is going to fit in, in these areas. So this wall right here is not going to be as thick as my pocket is deep. It's going to be slightly lower. It's not going to come right flush to the top of this base of this box, if you will. So I need a vector that will be used to create that pocket cut, that pocket area. And the what I'm going to do to create that vector is I'm actually going to step back. I need to Control Z to bring this line back for a moment. And I need to Control Z twice, 3 times to bring this line back for a moment, because I actually need this vector right here. I need to make a copy of it. So I'm going to copy this to another layer, so that way I can turn it off when I don't need it. Copy to layer. And this is going to be my trim vectors layer. I'll make the color like red. And so right this moment, I'll go ahead and turn this off. but I'm going to need that in just a minute. And I'm also going to take this vector here and these two lines here. I'm going to make sure they're extended. Remember, I undid. Control Z was an undo move. So I need to put these extensions back here. That one's good. That one is good. And that one's good. So now that I have that extended, I need to take this vector and I'm going to copy this as well to that trim vectors layer. All right, now I can come back and create the cut here and here to connect all that together. So I have two closed vectors now. I have the, let me go back in here and turn, bear with me a second. Give me just a moment. I got to move this back. When I trimmed these vectors, it turned that layer back on and it put everything on that layer. And the reason why it did that is because I had it active up here. I trimmed the right vector on the wrong layer. So let's not do that. Let's get this tightened right. Let's turn that back off. And on layer 1 here, let's make that active. Let me delete these empty ones. So layer 1, make that active and bold. This way, when I come over here and I use my scissors and trim, it stays on layer 1. So that's there on layer 1, and then those two vectors are on my trim vector layers. All right, so once again, I have two vectors. I have this one here, it's going to be pocketed out, and this one here. Now, I'm going to be pocketing this area on the inside, and I'm going to be using that 1/4 inch end mill. So I want to go ahead and put my fillets. I want to go ahead and put them, the 1/8 inch radius fillets on these inside corners. So we're going to do that now. There and there. Here and here. Oops. I'm going to hit undo on that one. Make sure I'm right on that corner. There we go. And then at the bottom. Okay. So now when my router bit is coming in here and cutting and everything, I'm not leaving any little bits, tidbits of this and that left over and stuff like that. That's going to cause me problems or what have you. Now, here, my main pocket here and here, my board is right now, I believe if this box is 1 inch thick for the base and 1 inch for the lid, 2 inches thick overall, I believe if I went with a 3/4 inch deep pocket, that's actually a fairly deep pocket for whatever, for items and things. I will ultimately decide if I'm going to end up doubling this up and make it like a 1.5 inch. I said double. 1.5, if I'm going to make it 1.5 or 2 inches, on the base, like a thick box, right? Like a deep box. Or it's going to be a shallow box. What I vision in my head when we're looking at the photo, let's see here. When we're looking at this photo that I am using for inspiration, Wait for it. There we go. Wait for it. Box. I'm kind of almost thinking that the box, almost like a you know, like a you know, the chocolate heart boxes that you get chocolates in, like a Valentine's box. You know, they're, you know, about, I don't know, that thick, and you know, like the hearts and all. Thinking kind of like that, you know, with a nice thick lid. I don't know yet. I will. It's one of those things that I'm going to create the toolpaths. I'm going to create the main work, which you're going to see here tonight. And then if I need to go deeper or bigger on my base, it's just a matter of just changing some numbers and recalculating the toolpath. So I think I'm going to go 1.5 inches. I think that's what it's going to end up being. But I also want to kind of just, you know, I'll envision it for what I have right now without having to do any additional glue ups and things. So let's, I know that's confusing, but basically my pockets here, my main pockets for right now, they're going to be 3/4 of an inch deep. So we're going to go with a pocket toolpath, 0.75 inches deep. We're going to use a 1/4 inch end mill. Make sure everybody can still see me. And then I'll answer questions here in just a minute. Oak Ridge 4305. If my video is in the low quality mode on your end, go into the little gear looking icon on your YouTube and change the resolution to the 1080p, because I'm streaming at 1080p. So if it defaulted you in your browser, so if any of your screens are blurry, go to like whatever you're watching on the YouTube channel and everything, and click the little gear icon and change the quality to the 1080p. Okay. All right. So 1/4 inch end mill. We're going to just a simple offset cut. This is going to be my main pocket. .25 end mill. So for those of you that are new to the Vectric software or anything like that, CNC in general, when you're naming your toolpaths, take the time to actually name them. And then in that name somewhere, sorry, I'm getting nasally, it sounds nasally, but in that name somewhere, put the router bit information, you know, what size bit or what bit number, I don't care, whatever you want to do, just so when you're pulling up that toolpath, you know what bit, you know, is associated with it and stuff. All right, so we're going to go ahead and calculate this. Okay. And then I'm also going to save early and save often. We're going to save this file and the work that we've done up to this point and everything. So let's take just a quick second and go to File, Save As. And cutting all the way through the material. Z equals 1 inch. We're going to select the 1/4 inch end mill. Cutting on the outside of the line. I will have this secured down with 2-sided tape, most likely, or clamps. I haven't decided yet. But for right now, for preview purposes only, I will not add tabs. But if I do decide to add tabs, I'll make sure I do that before I actually run the cut. This is going to be the base profile cutout. 0.25 mil to it. We still have one more toolpath to create on it, but there's not a lot to the base. It's the lid that's going to be the most work. Now the base, I want to make sure that I don't forget to create that slight recess in that wall that's going to be running on that side inside for my lid, so it doesn't obstruct my lid, you know, that kind of thing. All right, so let's preview this. Now the preview window is just a simple maple background. I tend to use the maple or Canadian maple because it's a kind of a cleaner white background. This way I can focus on the carvings and the cuts that I'm previewing versus all the crazy grain that's in the picture that's being used for this background, because it's not, you know, simulating the wood that I'm going to be using. I could simulate the wood that I was using. I could take a picture of the board and I could import that photo into the software and I could carve everything on that to get a realistic image of, you know, 98% representation of what I'm actually going to, what my project is going to look like. But for the most part, I'm just using a light background so I can focus on, you know, my cut details and everything, especially if I'm bee carving something. I don't want a bunch of crazy grain in the background picture kind of distracting. So I want to be able to see depths, cut lines, and everything to make sure that there's no anomalies or inconsistencies or anything that I need to change before I go ruin a nice piece of wood. Now my toolpath is simulating, but I have the simulation turned off. So it's just kind of running through the simulation and it'll show the result here in just a second. And I have the animation turned off and the draw tool turned off. So you're not seeing it actually, you know, happen and everything. You're just going to see the end result. All right. So as of right now, we have, let that finish. Let's click on the waste here, double click on the waste to make it go away. And if my left mouse button will work for me. There we go. All is flush with the top of that box, right? Well, it needs to be recessed. So on that path and everything in here, it needs to be recessed down. There needs to be a little pocket to bring that down just a little bit. And it's going to be, the depth that it's brought down is going to be based on the lip that I'm using. Now, I honestly, I could just remove the material in the beginning part of that line up here, that wall, and at the end of that wall, I could just remove enough material where when the lid fits in, it sits in there. And I could leave this at the same height, just remove down to just down a little bit, maybe because my fitted lid is only going to be, 3/16. So I'll probably go, around at 3/16 or a quarter. The look better instead of two little notches on the ends and everything. All right, let's see what we have here. All right. Oh, gotcha. All right, so let's get that little recess Now remember, if you recall, I created these other vectors here and everything, and I put them on a layer called the trim vector layer. Now I'm going to take this inside pocket here, and I am going to copy that to a new layer, and I'm going to just call that the base inside vector, just so I have a backup copy of it. It does not need to be active or visible. I just want that copy in the background in case I need it for something. All right, here, my router bit, I need to make, when my router bit comes in and cuts and everything, that I don't cut outside here or anything, is I'm actually going to take the lines and I'm going to offset them outward. Oh, not much. Maybe a 1/16 of an inch for it. Outward 0.0625. Oh, wrong direction. That one's inward. And this one is outward. Nope. Lord of mercy. That one's inward also. All right. What's inward node? So the green node is the start point of this line, and you're standing in front of that green node, and you're looking at it. From where you're standing, it's your left and your right. Inside left, outside right. So when you're, it's referring to the left or the right side of that green node. Now, right now, this area over here is inside left. This area over here is outside right because the green node is there. If I were to move that node to this end of the line, this would be the right side and this would be the left side because I'm looking at it from the green node from this direction, and this would be my left, this would be my right. So the how to determine if you're going to go inside left or outside right or left or right, that's how it is. It's based off of that green node, and if you were standing and looking at it, left and right, your left and your right. Okay, so let's go ahead and that I just created, I'm going to, let's go up here, and I'm going to use the extend tool first, and I'm going to extend this to that line. Let's make sure there's another extended right here. Remember, all right, right? So I'm going to come in and let me think if I went out far enough. Bear with me just a second. I need to see if I went out far enough on my offset. When my router bit comes in here, it's going to leave that little notch right there. So let's undo a little bit enough. I'll go 3/16 is fine. So let's do that. So offset inward, and I'm going to go just 3/16. Might as well. Offset 3/16. Extend tool, extend this line here to there. Extend this line from here to there. Now I'm going to take my scissors. I'm going to trim this away and that away. Trim this inside area here, and that's going to create this vector right here. That's my pocket vector. That's the vector I'm going to be using to do my pocket with. So is going to cut. My lid is going to recess the fitted area, lip, if you will. It's going to go in 3/16. Yeah, so I'll just go down 1/4 of an inch, 0.25, 1/4 inch end mill. Let's calculate. This will be my we'll call it surface to height, 0.25 end mill. Calculate that. What that's going to do, if all is right with the world, it should mill that ledge there down. There we go. All right. So let's hit save button. To it if I need, but that's going to be I'm going to be happy with the depth and everything. So I'll just leave it at that. Okay. So let's go ahead and we hit save to save this. And then now we're going to focus on the lid. This is where all the modeling and this is where all the work's going to come in. So let's come on. And thank you, Harvey. Yeah. Don't forget to hit that like button. All right. Let's go ahead and go to our sheets. We're going to create a new sheet, same size. This is going to be the lid. Lid. We're going to make it active. And what I need is those vectors from the main sheet. I need them copied over to the lid because that's what, it's all based off that same box perimeter and all that stuff. So what I need is Sorry for the pause. What I need for this is to catch up with itself, and then we'll move forward. Again, like I said, we're going to have all the electronics and everything tight and right very shortly. We're going to nip that in the butt early this year for 2025 and see what we can come up with. All right. So what's happened now is the sheet 1, the lid, I actually need to go back to sheet 1 and make it active because I need those vectors. I got to go back over to those vectors and copy them over to the lid. So all of these vectors I need to copy to the lid. All right. It's working on it. I usually have, just so you know, if any of you are new to the channel, I usually have a second computer running simultaneously that does all the streaming. It carries the heavy load to the net to you all, while this computer does all the design work and everything. And the streaming system that would normally handle the stream, it's not working right now. So this computer is doing both, and it's the software, the Aspire software is very taxing on the CPU and the GPU and things like that. Okay, so I need to go to here, and I really only need these two vectors here. Copied to the sheet, the lid. There we go. So that's really the only two vectors that I need at this moment in time. And that is that. So let's turn off the layers that I'm not using. We don't need the trim layers anymore. We don't need this. I do need that turned on for right now. Let's go back over to the lid. So you can double click on the lid. If you're working in sheets, you can double click on the sheet here on the screen. You can double click on the list to make whatever one you're clicking on active, or and if you have toolpaths and all, you can drop down over here and change from one sheet to the next in this drop down on the toolpath side of the software, either one. Right now, I'm in the process of making a switch from sheet 1 to the lid. The computer's doing it. There we go. And it just takes just a second. Okay. So let's go ahead and hit save. All right. Now the lid is going to be two-sided. There's going to be an inside and an outside and everything. So I'm going to take these two vectors right now, and I'm going to copy them to the other side. Copy them over to the other side because there's going to be an inside of the lid on the bottom and the top side. Now on the top side, that's what we're going to focus on the modeling and everything. And I want a ribbon. We talked about that just a minute ago. I want a ribbon to go on here. And I was thinking, at a slight angle, kind of like this one, kind of coming across versus like straight over, straight across or what have you. I kind of like the idea of an angle happening there. So I'm going to go ahead and draw that rectangle. The ribbon, I'm going to have it about 1.5 inches. Let's go 1.25 inches. It is, before I turn it and rotate it on the angle that it's going to go, let's make sure you see what layer I'm in here. That's terrible of me. I need to make sure I'm working in the correct layer. So let's come over here, and I want it to be in layer 1. And I want to move this to layer 1. want to turn off these other layers for right now. Okay, all I need to do is focus on this outside vector for the moment. All right, now on this bow, or on this ribbon, there's going to be a bow. And the bow, how you draw it and everything is up to you. You know, what you want it to look like and all. You can find images, vector images of a bow to get the outlines and things that you need. I'm going to draw it from scratch. So let's go right about here. And let's get that centered. Okay. On the bow, I'm going to focus my attention on one side, and then I'll mirror everything over to the other side. This is going to be the base of the bow that's going to have like the two little streamers that come down and the kind of the main part of the bow. And then I'm actually going to have pieces that are on their upright that are going to get cut out of this board in another part. But they're going to get turned on the upright and they're going to get glued in there. So it looks like the bow is really standing up and everything. So it will have, you know, kind of this effect, but it's going to be two individual pieces, the right side and this middle part right here. We're going to cut those three pieces out separate. So what I want to do is on this vector that's going to represent the bow right here, we're going to go into node editing, and I'm just going to cut it in half right down the middle. I'm going to get rid of the right side because everything I do on the left is going to get mirrored to the right, that kind of thing. What I want to do is I'm going to use the fillet tool to let's go with a 3/4 inch fillet here. The node editing, I'm going to hit the letter N on the keyboard. This is, I'm actually going to cut the vector right there as well and get rid of this bottom side, this top side, so I can kind of work with it. It's going to come here. This straight line is going to be a Bezier curve, so I can have a little bit of a curve to this. It's going to kind of come in and down. And here, I got a hard little notch right here. And so I want to kind of delete that point. I want my curve to kind of come from point A to point B, if you will, right? I don't need point C and D in the middle and things like that. And then a nice little curve here. So this curve is going to kind of come, and it's going to come into here. It's going to come across, and I can actually get rid of this point, and I go from there. So we can actually bring that curve so it flows all the way from here. All right. Once I have this shape here, imagine, if you will, there's going to be kind of a center, like, you know, like on the center of a bow, that little part that kind of wraps around the bow. If we were to look at the image, basically it would be this part right here. Imagine that, visualize that, right? That is going to be about a 1/2 inch wide. Right? So this will kind of come into that, and that's fine. This piece is actually going to be a glued on piece with the two uprights. That you'll see those, and you'll understand when I say what I mean by uprights in just a second. But this piece is going to be 3 separate pieces that get glued to this and everything. But this is, I'm making the base for these parts to sit on. So here, that's good. Let's select this, hold down the control or the shift key and select this vector here. And I want to align it up and down on that last selected item. So the big rectangle. So when I do that, it's going to align that up and down like that. The centerpiece base here needs to be just a little bit wider. It's going to be just a little bit wider, about like that. And now I'm going to take this part. I'm going to mirror it down. So to make this easy on myself, I'm going to take all of this and I'm going to center it on the material. I'm going to take this heart, center that back on the material. There we go. So I'm centered on this long ribbon, and we'll end up cutting that off in just a minute. I just had that rectangle long, but I'm centered here now. And I'm going to take this part and this part, and I want to, center it as well. I want to make sure that this is centered. So in order to do that, let me select this first and center this. There we go. And then I'm just going to use my left of overlap. Okay. We're going to create a mirror copy, flip about job center. We're going to flip it horizontally. That'll give me my right side. We're going to flip that vertically. All right. So we're not going to flip that vertically. We're going to flip that to the bottom. There we go. We're going to flip that horizontally. There we go. And that should give me this general shape here. And then these three parts, I'll just weld them to them. So join tool, join them. All right. What I have with that is I have one closed vector, the rectangle, and I have two open vectors, the left and the right side of the bow, right? So we're going to weld these three parts together, and I should end up with a piece that looks like that. Okay. Now for my streamers coming down, we'll use an arc. For here, we're going to go from here. We'll pick somewhere right about there. I don't want the streamers really, really long, but let me hit escape on that. Let me hit undo. Oops, redo. I want to come out here. I'm going to offset this. Now, I drew this arc from the top to the bottom, so my start point is at the top. So this is the left. I'm going that way, even though it's the right on the screen, right? It's the left side of that line. So when I offset 3/8 of an inch, let's go more. That's kind of a small stringer. Let's go 5/8 of an inch. There we go. And then I'm going to take these two here. I'll just connect a straight line here for right now. Then in node editing, I'm going to grab this and kind of pull this here. And then I'm going to take this whole thing, mirror, create a mirrored copy, flip about job center, and flip it horizontally. Oops. Hold on a minute. Make sure that I join. Remember, just because I drew that line there doesn't mean that they were joined together, right? I need that one open vector. So those three vectors need to be joined. And then I can mirror that. Okay. All right. Now, once again, I should have a little bit of overlap. I do have a little bit of overlap there. I can select those items, and I should be able to weld that. Yeah. Yeah, that's fine, because what I'm going to do is get rid of those two things and get rid of these two peaks. Those things do not need to be there. So I can delete that point there, delete that point there. Okay. Wonderful. So this is going to be the base. You're going to see all this come together in just a minute. This is going to be the base. And the base is going to be sitting on top of this streamer that's coming across here. And on the streamer right here, I'm actually on the lid, the streamer is going to, that ribbon is going to act like it's running over the side. So I want this heart to be offset outward. And I want to go, I don't have a whole lot of room here on this 12 by 12 and everything. So let's just go a quarter. Well, it needs to be consistent. So however thick my ribbon is going across the top, it needs to be the same thickness coming down the side. So quarter of an inch, 0.25. So 0.25. We're going to offset that outward. And then I'm going to take my scissors, this and that and that. And what that does is it creates this vector here that's going to represent my ribbon. Okay, my ribbon. All right, now let's do some modeling, ladies and gentlemen. Let's do some modeling, and let's make this look like something, right? Let's make it look like something and everything. So let's see how we're doing here. Nature's Live Edge. Yeah, so nature, it might be a little bit, it could be chopping, could be coming from me, but I don't know. Give me a shout out, ladies and gentlemen, and just let me know what your status is on the stream. StreamYard has not given me any warnings or anything that I'm having an issue with the streaming, so I'm not sure. I'm not sure. All right, and so all right, let's do some modeling, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm gonna split screen this. So you can kind of get an idea of what's going on and everything. So with it here, lid, and a rounded surface to it. So it's going to be a dome style shape here. It's going to be a curved profile, a rounded shape. I'm going to go just a simple 30 degrees. I'm going to let it scale that 30-degree angle at 100% of its whatever height it ends up being in the center. There is not going to be any base height at this moment. And it's going to be an add mode, and this is going to be the lid. GPU is going out. I can't. I gotta get. That's why we're going out. I can't get the 3D rendering. It's crazy. All right. So what we should see dome. All right. And the dome should be the original vector when I created that dome. So I'm going to go ahead and fix that right now. I'm going to select the wait for it. Definitely don't do that. So Control Z. I moved it accidentally. Don't accidentally move your part.